How do you structure your startup investment pitch so that it is effective in winning investment? If you've been around the block, you've probably seen dozens and dozens of different advice and tips about how to put your pitch deck or your investor deck together. In this video, we're going to look at some of the most critical underlying factors that most people don't see when they put their pitch deck together. And this is in our experience working with and supporting companies, whether they're starting from scratch all the way up to $100 million of valuation to get to the next level. So when people go and they write a pitch deck, a lot of the times they'll jump online and then they will go to Google, they'll go, okay, give me a template for a pitch deck, give me an outline. And you can actually go and do this at many other venture capital websites like incubators. There are so many out there. And there are different groups who have come in and then they have even surveyed all of these different groups, or they've gone and downloaded their lists, they've combined them, and the result of that research is that most of these pitch deck structures and outlines are all the same. And I would agree, yeah, if you've been around long enough, you start seeing these repeated patterns, and then people have slightly different names for each of them. So this is the general gist of what people would look at. You would have this cover, like a first brand page of your pitch deck. You would talk about your problem, the solution, your product, or a demonstration of your product. You go into the market size and business model. You'd go into the competition, and then you'd go into your unique value proposition or your unique advantage. You'd go into the go-to market, how you're actually going to get into the market, penetrate the market. You're going to go into your team, your traction milestones or roadmap, and then you're going to go into your fundraising information. So I think that now all of these are great and informative, but there's one major issue that we've found that really leaves a lot of this to turn into a very ineffective pitch, even if you follow every single one of these steps. And that's what we want to go through in this video. We want to show you what the underlying mechanisms are that highly effective startup founders do as a result of our study, research, and direct working with over 2,400 companies, what we've noticed, and that is what we're going to cover in today's video. So you might be thinking, Arya, that long list of all the different slides I need, they actually sound quite comprehensive. So these are not necessarily inaccurate or even incomplete, but what can happen is that you put them all together and it looks like a mishmash of just this fragmented different pieces, and it leaves the investor so confused, and you miss the most critical things that would get them over the line. And so in our experience with many of these startups, I want to go through breaking this down into 3 core pillars that will not only make your life easy, but make life easy for your investors to understand what you're doing. So this is a revised investment pitch structure broken down into these 3 core pillars. So let's go into the first of these 3 pillars. The first one is your product opportunity. Ultimately, you are going to be providing a product to customers. And unless your investor understands this product, they're not confused by the product, then they're not going to move ahead. You see, some people dive into the investment amount, the big market, but if you don't really make it clear that this is a real product that meets a demand, that there is a real pain there and it's real, and we have real evidence in showing that this is going to be used, right? So this is what we want to do first. We want to go into the product opportunity and we want to share our solution. So we want to make it clear that this is our solution, this is our product, and this is the unique value proposition. So if you've done this pillar well, an investor should walk out of your meeting, and if they're asked, what was that pitch about? They go, this is the product, okay? In no uncertain terms, this is exactly who they serve. This mother, of many children is going to be served, right? This person who owns a dog is going to be served. It should be really clear. So in Airbnb's pitch deck on slide 6, they actually just have one simple slide to show what the product is about. You search by city, you review the listings, and then you book it. It's so critically simple. And on top of that, what you want to remember is that in a pitch deck, you're not there to show every little piece of your product. That's going to come later. You just want to hook your investor enough to be willing to come in and look at a demo, to ask questions, to come in and continue the conversation with you. So to recap, with the product opportunity, we want to show what's the demand, is it validated, and what's your solution as simple as possible so that your investors can understand. So if you don't have pillar 2 and you only have a product, you run the risk of having something that people would love to use, but it is a horrible business. It is not worth investing into or even building. So this brings us to pillar number 2, the market opportunity. So the question here is, if I go and launch this, will people be willing to pay for it? Is there going to be actual profit in what we are going to do? So this includes viability, like could a viable business be built upon the demand that we have identified, right? This is where the size of the market comes into play. This is where your customer acquisition and your growth strategies come into play. Now, in addition, we also want to look at the roadmap. Now, this is the roadmap of your business as a whole, not the roadmap only of your product. So what we mean is, how are you going to grow that company and what are you targeting? If I bring you to the last slide of Airbnb's product, they make it really clear. They were looking for 12 months of runway to be hitting $2 million of revenue to get kickstarted. So if you can be really clear with this is your roadmap, you want to hit these real goals, this real horizon in your business, it's going to make the investor's life easy because they can clearly understand what you're looking to do with their capital. Now at this point, you might be asking, now isn't that it? If we have a great product, we have a great market opportunity, well, aren't we ready to go as a startup? But the answer is no, because there are more questions that your investor is going to have in the back of their mind. The first 2 of these pillars would validate that this is something great for you as a founder to kickstart the startup. But this is the 3rd pillar that unless you have it, investors would not be looking to come on board. So what is it? It's your investment opportunity. You now need to show why it's important for the investor to come on board. And this starts with the execution risk. Can the team execute? Have other companies achieved similar? And what's the likelihood of success? So anything that you can share that shows that you have rungs on the board, you have the artillery ready to be effective at carrying out your plans, that's what you want to bring up here. So this includes things like your team slide. How experienced is your team to carry out all of the things that you want to do to then hit your targets? It includes any other risks or ways that you can mitigate those risks so that you can get this into market or grow it to the stage that you're looking for. Finally, there's the investor return on investment. Remember, investors are not investing just because they have too much money and they don't know what to do with it. They're not just looking to waste it or gamble it. They want it put to good use so that it returns into more money. Okay, they want a positive return on investment. So they want to be asking, when could I possibly achieve that return on investment? What would that return be? What would be the magnitude of that return? So if you don't have some future point where you can show that the value of your company has drastically grown. Now, I don't think you actually need to be so detailed saying that, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Investor, this is when you're going to exit. I do think that that comes at a later stage of discussion, but at the same time, leaving it completely open is not what you want to do. Let me give you a quick example. If you say that here we are today, we're a great company, we have just about built a great product, please give us $1 million and then we are going to go and grow the company. If you don't have a clear upside showing that we're going to hit this target in 1 year and we're going to be 2 times our value, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times, then really the investor is buying shares and they have no idea where those shares are going or how much they are potentially growing in the future. Using Airbnb's example as a reference, look at what they've done. In their pitch deck, they say that in the next 12 months, they are aiming for $2 million of revenue. But then they also mention that they are aiming within 3 years to be hitting $2.1 billion of revenue. So if you break that down, Airbnb was looking at a 1000x growth curve for investors just within a few years. So can you see how an investor would look at the potential return on investment? Now, on that one, there are no hard promises. Investors know that startups are risky, but why they risk it is because there is such a high upside. So if you hide this in your pitch deck, if you don't mention it, then it makes it very difficult for the investor to compare your opportunity against a whole sea of multiple opportunities. Here at Genesis Ventures, we receive multiple pitches a day of people looking to work with us, and it's so hard to keep track of them, let alone find a few that stand out. So let's now bring that all together in terms of how do you structure your investment pitch to investors. You break it down to the 3 pillars. Number 1, your product opportunity. What is your product and what is the real burning pain or demand that you're serving, and have you validated that? Number 2, what is the market opportunity? How strongly can you go and create a real business that is profitable from this product that you've identified or built? And finally, and not to miss this one, what is the investment opportunity? What does all of this mean for investors? If they come in and invest, how can you reduce their risk and increase the upside of their investment? So if you ensure that these 3 components are the underlying argument for what you're bringing up, and then you match your pitch deck slides to be answering these fundamental and underlying questions, you give your startup a really strong chance to win in the investment landscape. Now, in this video, I mentioned a few of the slides of Airbnb. If you're interested to go through a deeper teardown of each of the slides of the Airbnb pitch deck where they raised $600,000 in 2008, you can go through that in this video here. If you got value out of this video and you want more, please like and subscribe. And if you have any other ideas that can really help other startup founders get to the next level, get the investment that they want and really grow, put that in the comments. Would love to hear what you have to say. So keep the momentum going. I look forward to seeing you next time.